Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Shataria here at Chicago Branch Great Millstone, prophesizing the return of the Heavenly Father Yahweh and the Son Yahweh Shai. You all ignorantly call him Jesus, but his true and Hebrew name is Yahweh Shai. Coming at you with another lesson. As always, before we get started, we're going to give all praise, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakadash Barakatah. Double honors to our apostles and our elders here at Great Millstone who rule well. Honors to the hopeful elect. The so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the biblical and true Hebrews of the Bible. Salutation to all the Akim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity, the speckled bird, and all those whose lineage goes back to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, healthy Barakatah. And to the Aqua, and those of you out there listening and learning, Shalom and Barakatah to you also. The title of this lesson is Leprosy Was the Mark That He Gave Him, Part 2. This is Part 2 of a trilogy, a 3-part lesson. And recapping Part 1, we went into the etymology of words and how important it is to get the full understanding of the word, and what the word means. And we went into albino. Albino, a person, just recapping part 1, having congenital absence of pigment in the skin. Albino, a person having a congenital absence of pigment in the skin or hair, which is pale skin, okay? And the eyes, which are usually like a pinkish color, pinkish red color, all right? And again, the etymology of words, it's important to get the full understanding of the word and what it means. And when you go into the origin, into the Latin, that's albus, okay? Albus, pale skin, all right? A rare genetic disorder where you are not born with the usual amount of melanin, pigment, okay? Again, when you go to the origin, the Latin, that's albus, pale skin, rare genetic disorder where you are not born with the usual amount of melanin, pigment. Melanin is a very special chemical in your body, okay, skin, hair, and eyes that determines the color of your skin. Albinism, all right? And most people, or should I say people with albinism, are prone to sunburn, skin disease, skin cancer, okay? And we gave you precepts of that in part 1 of the lesson, all right? But the first person, okay, that the Lord marked in the Bible with that there was Cain, all right? All the people, okay, back then were pretty much melanated people, or people of color, okay? And the elder apostle Gabah did a beautiful lesson on that, showing how the Moabites, the Hamites, the Ammonites, well, we know the Hamites, but the world was melanated people back then, okay? And when you got that mark, I just gave you albino, albinism. Okay, let's get Genesis, all right? Let's get Genesis. Okay. And let's get Genesis 4, okay? And we'll start reading about 12. All right, Genesis 4 and 12. And it says, let's start reading at 10. And it says, Genesis 4 and 10. And he said, to get the full measure, we can go up a little bit more. And Cain talked with his brother. And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. And killed his brother. Cain killed his brother Abel, all right? And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. Genesis 4 and 11. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which has opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. And when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth, okay? And that's what the Lord did to Cain for killing his brother Abel. And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. And this is the point, Genesis 4 and 15. And the Lord said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him, okay? And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden, okay? So that's that mark that we just went into, okay? And Cain was the first person marked, all right? Now, what we have to remember, again, during that time, all the people of the world were pretty much melanated people, okay? People of color, okay? And during the Renaissance, during the Renaissance, when Esau came into power, he actually came into power. The beginning of Edomite rule was Alexander the Greek, son of Philip the Macedonian, okay? That's when Edomite rule began. But during the Renaissance, when Esau came into power, he whitewashed history. He went throughout Europe, destroying the icons, the artifacts, and the relics, okay? And you know what he did was chemical them, lighten them up to make them look lighter, white. And those that he didn't chemicalize, he just completely destroyed, okay? And that's what he did. Went throughout Europe destroying the icons, the artifacts, and the relics. But there were so many, thousands, that he couldn't get to all of them. And they were set up from Germany to Sweden, Russia, all the way back to Great Britain. All right? So that lets you know that the people were melanated people, are people of color, okay? And Esau refuses to acknowledge the truth, all right? And because he rules everything, okay, through his pseudoscience, which means false science, okay? By the way, it actually means a lie. But Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. They covereth the faces of the judges thereof. And when he got into power, okay, by him interacting with the women of different nations, uh, pretty much the same way Greece went from dark to pale, okay? That's pretty much how the whole world did, all right? But we're in the age where the truth is being manifested. But Esau, the so-called white man, self-proclaimed, has been proven to be the biblical Edomite, all right? And all of his history is based on a lie. In fact, he started calling himself white. That's when the white-black thing came into play, 1681, all right? If I'm not mistaken, 1681 in Virginia, okay? And from there, he took the white thing and connected it to the Bible, so forth and so have you. We'll get to that in the conclusion of the lesson, all right? But there are documentaries that have been done in the past and that are done showing European people to be people of color or melanated people. And it sparks fear, sparks horror in Esau Edom, his lies being exposed, okay? And he can no longer control the narrative. And I gave you that, roughly paraphrasing, Job 9 and 24, Job 13 and 4. Let's get that. Let's get these scriptures, okay? I'll pull them up this time instead of actually quoting them. Job 9 and 24. And it says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So again, you see, he began to whitewash history. Okay, and he self-proclaimed himself to be a white man. This came about in 1681 in Virginia. And through Taoism, he connected that to the Bible. We'll get into that in the conclusion of the lesson, all right? But again, there are documentaries that are done showing European people to be people of color or melanated people. And again, it sparks fear, sparks horror in Esau Edom, his lies being exposed. He can no longer control the narrative, all right? Because the truth is being manifested, okay? Let's get Job 13 and 4. I brought that out in part 1 of the lesson too. 13 and 4. And it says, but ye are forgers of lies. Ye are physicians of no value. See, this man, everything about him is a lie. All right? Everything about him is a lie, okay? He is a forger of lies, all right? That's what he is. And again, we went into leprosy, all right? Leprosy was the mark that he gave him, which is the title of the lesson, all right? And leprosy, when people got leprosy, it was bad, man. That's a bad thing, man. They had to get separated, put outside the camp, or they had to go into a sanitarium, the lepers, okay? Because it was contagious, and you died from that. I don't know if you ever seen the movie The Kingdom, okay, where the king had leprosy. That was just one account, but there's many accounts, okay? Leprosy is both an ancient and modern disease. The earliest evidence we have of leprosy is a skeleton in India that dates back 4,000 years. There are references to leprosy in the Bible, in the scriptures, okay? Leprosy, or Hansen's disease, was reported more than 3,000 years ago. It was interpreted as a curse of God, all right? It's a curse of God. And I gave you the numbers, 12, 9 through 10, when the Lord, he gave Miriam the leprosy. He was displeased with her. And Aaron about talking about the wife that Moses took. You can find that in Numbers 12th chapter, verses 9 through 10, 1 through 10 actually, okay? And that was the mark he gave Miriam, leprosy. We'll revisit that, but we won't revisit it like that. Let's go to Deuteronomy. If I'm not mistaken, I want Deuteronomy, and I want Deuteronomy 24. Is that Deuteronomy 24? And we're going to go to verses 7, I believe. Let's get them. Deuteronomy 24. Okay, and 8. That's it. Deuteronomy 24 and 8. It says, "Take heed in the plague of leprosy, that thou observe diligently, and do according to all that the priests, the Levites, shall teach you, as I commanded them, so ye shall observe to do. Remember what the Lord thy God did unto Miriam by way after that ye were come forth out of Egypt." See, he marked her with leprosy, and and she had to stay outside the camp because she was cursed. He gave her leprosy. Again, leprosy or Hansen's disease was reported more than 3,000 years ago. It was interpreted as a curse of God. And God gave her leprosy, all right? And she had to stay outside the camp for 7 days. And in fact, Moses had to pray to the Lord to bring her back to her right self. Because again, when you got leprosy, it was bad for you, all right? Now, let's go into Law of the Leper and pretty much get deep into part 2. Leprosy was the mark that he gave them. We're going to break down Leviticus 14th chapter on leprosy, all right? And we'll start reading. Okay, let's go into Leviticus 14 and 1. Okay, and it says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest." All right, he should be brought unto the priests, which are the Levites, okay? "And the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper." See, because lepers, they had a special place for all of them because it was spread, okay? Leprosy was spread, and everybody would get it. Wipe out the whole tribe, okay? So they had to be quarantined. They had to be put in like a sanitarium, a special place. They couldn't come inside the camp. Like Miriam, she had to dwell outside the camp for 7 days until the Lord brought her back. So when you got leprosy, that was a bad thing. Again, it was interpreted as a curse of God, which it was, all right? Leviticus 14. "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest, and the priest shall go forth out of the camp, and the priest shall look, and behold, if the plague of leprosy be healed in the leper." All right, if the plague of the leprosy be healed in the leper, okay, then shall the priest, okay, command to take for him, that is to be cleansed, 2 birds alive and clean. That means they can't have no blemishes, no diseases or nothing like that. They have to be 2 birds clean, okay? And cedar wood, all right? Now, cedar wood, okay, is a red wood or a rosy pink wood, depending on the wood. But on a whole, cedar wood is red colored, okay? "Then shall the priest command to take for him, that is to be cleansed, 2 birds alive and clean, and cedar wood, and scarlet. Okay, scarlet. Now, scarlet is a dye, some say of a female worm, okay, a dried up female worm, but the Egyptians got it from shellfish, and the Hebrews got it from coccycus, coccycus, okay, coccycus, all right, and that's where scarlet came from. Again, the Egyptians got it from shellfish, and our forefathers, okay, and the ancient ones got it from coccycus, okay, and that was scarlet, all right. It says, then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds alive and clean, unblemished, okay, and cedar wood and scarlet and hyssop. Now, hyssop is a herb or a plant which is used to cleanse, okay? And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. Now, an earthen vessel is a pretty much a vessel, a pot, which is fire resistant. You can use to cook food in it, boil the clothes of the lepers so they can be purified, okay? Boil water where it can be, it's fire resistant. That's an earthen vessel, all right? For those of you out there listening and learning, okay? I just broke down what hyssop is, scarlet, cedar wood, and all this was used again. Then shall the priest command to take for him that is to be cleansed 2 birds alive and clean, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And the priest shall command that one of the birds be killed in an earthen vessel over running water. All right. Now, as for the living bird, he shall take it, and the cedar wood, and the scarlet, and the hyssop, and shall dip them in the living bird, and shall dip them and the living bird in the blood of the bird that was killed over the running water. Now, I don't have to precept this too much because pretty much all the precepts in this Leviticus 14th chapter can be found right in the chapter. The chapter pretty much breaks itself down. As you can see, Leviticus chapter 4 and Leviticus chapter 5, pretty much Leviticus chapter 6, they go into the same thing, okay? So they're interacting. Again, this chapter here pretty much breaks itself down, all right? So Leviticus chapter 4 and 5 interacts, this is a breakdown. Leviticus 14 and 6 means the same, okay? For those of you out there listening and learning. Again, this chapter pretty much interacts and it breaks itself down. So very rarely do we have to go into another book to break this chapter down, but we will, and we are. Okay? And Hebrews 7, okay? Leviticus chapter 7, okay? Leviticus 14 and 7, verse 7. All right. Leviticus 14 and verse 7, okay? And it says, and he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field. Again, Leviticus 14 and 7. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into an open field. Now, let's go to 2 Kings 5, okay? Let's go to 2 Kings. 2 Kings 5 and 10. And it said, where do I want to start at? We'll start at 8, or should I start at 7? We'll start at 7. 2 Kings 5 and 7. And it came to pass, when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes and said, Am I God to kill and to make alive, that this man doeth sin unto me, to recover a man of his leprosy? Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he speaketh a quarrel against me. And it was so, when Elijah, the man of God, had heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariot, and stood at the door of the house of Elijah. And Elijah sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee. That means the leprosy would be gone, and he would return to his melanated color. Again, all the people back then were melanated people, or people of color. Okay, 2 Kings 5 and 10, and Elijah sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. Okay, but Naaman was wroth, and went away and said, Behold, I thought he would surely come out to me, and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, and strike his hand over the place, and recover the leper. All right, so he was stiff-necked, and then Elijah, he had leprosy, so he wasn't finna come near that man, but he told him how to cleanse himself. All right. Are not Abner and Pharapha, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? But really they wasn't, okay? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And his servants came near and spake unto him, and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee do so great thing, wouldst thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he saith to thee, Wash and be clean? Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. Okay, that's pretty much the precept going into this here. Let's go right back into this Leviticus 14, and that was 7, okay? And that was the precept for that Leviticus 14, verse 7. And I took you to 2 Kings and read 1 through 10, okay? 1 through 12, really. But you got the actual drawing of that, all right? Leviticus, again, we pretty much, sometimes we have to leave and go into another book, but very rarely, all right? Because this chapter breaks itself down. So most of the precepts are right in Leviticus 14 chapter. Like I gave you Leviticus 14 and 4 and 5, Leviticus 14 and 6 coincides. They break themselves down for those of you out there listening and learning. Now let's go to Leviticus 14 and 8. Okay, Leviticus 14 and 8. All right. Leviticus 14 and 8. And he that is cleansed shall wash his clothes. Okay, let's get 7 to get you the full understanding. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times. And see, Elijah the prophet told this man to go in the river Jordan and dip 7 times, okay? And that was the breakdown for Leviticus 14 and 7, 2 Kings 5, 1 through 10. And he shall sprinkle upon him that is to be cleansed from the leprosy 7 times, and shall pronounce him clean, and shall let the living bird loose into the open field. Leviticus 14 and 8. And he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes, and shave off all his hair, and wash himself in water, that he may be clean. And after that he shall come into the camp, and shall tarry abroad out of his tent 7 days, okay? And shall tarry at the tent, outside his tent 7 days, okay? All right. But it shall be on the 7th day that he shall shave all his hair off his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all his hair he shall shave off, okay? And he shall wash his clothes, and he shall wash his flesh in the water, and he shall be clean, okay? Now, we can go on Leviticus 14 and 20. Let's go to Leviticus 14 and 20, all right? Okay, Leviticus 14 and 20. And see, and it says, and the priest shall offer a burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean, okay? See, these pretty much verses interact, and this chapter breaks itself down, all right? And that was Leviticus 14 and 20, okay? Leviticus 14 and 20, okay? And we were reading Leviticus 14, 8 and 9, okay? Again, in Leviticus 14 and 20 interacts with that, all right? For those of you out there listening and learning, okay? And he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes and shave off all his hair and wash himself in water, that he may be clean. And after that he shall come into the camp and shall tarry abroad out of his tent 7 days. So he couldn't leave his tent. Even though he was inside the camp, he still had to stay inside the tent for 7 days, okay? But it shall be on the 7th day that he shall shave all his hair off his head, and his beard, and his eyebrows, even all his hair he shall shave off. And he shall wash his clothes also. He shall wash his flesh in the water, and he shall be clean, okay? He shall be clean. You see, he shall be clean, okay? And again, I just gave you that Leviticus 14, I believe I was, in 20, which interacts with that Leviticus 14, 8, and 9, okay? And let's go to Leviticus 14 and 10, all right? Leviticus 14 and 10. Okay, Leviticus 14 and 10. And it says, okay, I want you to get a better understanding of that Leviticus 14 and 9 too. So what we're going to do, we're going to go outside and go into another book one more time, all right? Let's go Leviticus 14 and 9, where you can get a full drawing, and go to Numbers 19 and 19, okay? Let's go to Numbers. And let's go to Numbers 19, chapter 19th verse. And it says, and the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day he shall purify himself and wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and he shall be clean at even. At even, which means in the evening, okay, he shall be clean, all right? So we can get a better understanding of that. Now let's go right back into Leviticus 14, okay, and we're going to go to 14 and 10 now, all right? Leviticus 14 and 10, and it says, On the eighth day, he shall take away, on the eighth day, he shall take away 2 he lambs without blemish. Okay, the 2 he lambs, they can't have no scabies, no herbies. They can't be diseased. They have to be unblemished. They have to be pure, okay? And 1 ewe lamb. And the ewe lamb is a female lamb, okay? And on the eighth day, he shall take 2 he lambs without blemish and 1 ewe lamb of the first year. They have to be 1 year old, okay? Without blemish. And 3 deals of fine flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil, okay? Now, a log is a measure of liquids used by the Hebrews, used by our ancestors, okay? That's what a log is, okay? Again, Leviticus 14:10, and it says, okay, Leviticus 14:10, all right? And on the eighth day, okay, he shall take 2 he lambs without blemish and 1 ewe lamb. 2 he lambs, and the ewe lamb is the female lamb without blemish, okay? Again, they can't have no herbies, scabies, no diseases. They have to be pure, unblemished, okay? Of the first year, and they have to be 1 year old without blemish, and 3/10 deals of fine flour for a meat offering mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil. And a log, okay, again, is a measure of liquids used by the Hebrews. That's how the log was used by our ancestors, okay? Our forefathers, all right? And that goes into that Hebrews 4:10. Now, this ties into that Mark 8th chapter, Matthew, okay, even into Luke. We'll get a chance to cover those as we get into the lesson deeper, all right? But we got a little reading to do, so I'll get to that, okay? I'm going to go, okay, Hebrews, okay? And that's Hebrews 4:10, all right? All right, and it says, and on the eighth day, he shall take 2 he lambs without blemish, and 1 ewe lamb of the first year without blemish, and 3/10 deals of fine flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and 1 log, again a log, okay, which are measurements, liquid measurements used by the Hebrews in ancient times, okay? Hebrews 4:11, all right? Same thing. And the priest shall make him clean. And the priest shall make him clean, shall present the man that is to be made clean, and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, all right? Okay? All right, now let's go into Leviticus 14:12. Again, these is what he has to use to make the man clean. The 2 he lambs, the ewe lamb, okay, the 3/10 deals of fine flour for a meat offering, mingled with oil, and 1 log of oil. And again, a log is measurements of liquids used by the Hebrews or by our ancestors, okay? And the priest shall maketh him clean, and the priest that maketh him clean shall present the man that is to be made clean, and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Leviticus 14:12. And the priest shall take 1 he lamb. Okay. Salakia, Israel, I just dropped something, that's all. Okay. Leviticus 14, okay, it says, and 12, and the priest shall take one he lamb and offer him for a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. Okay. Now, Hebrews 14 and 12, all right, again, we don't have to leave the chapter to find out the precept or breakdown, because the chapter breaks itself down, it interacts. So we can go to Hebrews 14 and 19, okay? Let's go to Hebrews 14 and 19, okay? Hebrews 14 and 19, and it says, and the priest shall offer the sin offering and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed for his uncleanliness, and afterward he shall kill the burnt offering. Okay, so that pretty much interacts itself. All right, Hebrews 14 and 19, and the priest shall offer the sin offering and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from the uncleanliness, and afterward he shall kill the burnt offering, okay, which is the he lamb. All right, again, let's go back to Leviticus 14 and 12, okay? And the priest shall take one he lamb and offer him for the trespass offering, and the log of oil, and wave them for the wave offering before the Lord. Okay, and when you go into Leviticus 14 and 19, he has to kill that he lamb, okay, to finish the process. All right. Again, let's get it so you had clarification. Leviticus 14 and 19 pretty much ties into Leviticus 14 and 12. And the priest shall offer the sin offering and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanliness, and afterward he shall kill the burnt offering. All right. Okay. And here, let's go into that. Leviticus 14 and 19, so you can see it. And the priest shall offer the sin offering right here and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from his uncleanliness, and afterward he shall kill the burnt offering. Okay? See? And that ties in with that Leviticus 14 and 12 right there. As I said, this pretty much chapter interacts and it breaks itself down. We very rarely have to leave outside Leviticus 14 chapter to break the chapter down. Every now and then we'll leave, like I took you to that 2 Kings, but for the most part, we're going to stay right here in Leviticus 14 chapter. For those of you out there listening and learning, okay? Leviticus 14 and 13, all right? And it says, and he shall slay the lamb in the place where he shall kill the sin offering and the burnt offering in the holy place. For as the sin offering is the priest's, so is the trespass offering. It is most holy, all right? It is most holy, all right? He says it is most holy, okay? And that's Hebrews 14 and 13, all right? Hebrews 14 and 13, okay? And again, this time we're going to go to Leviticus 11 and 4. We're going to leave and go stay in Leviticus, but we're going to go to Leviticus 11 and 4. Okay, and we're going to go to 4, all right? And it says, and he shall bring the bullock unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord, and shall lay his hand upon the bullock's head and kill the bullock before the Lord, okay? See? And again, if we go back to Leviticus, that was Leviticus 11, 4, and 4, okay? Leviticus 11, 4, and 4, okay? That's what that was, Leviticus chapter 11, verses 4, okay? Nevertheless shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud. That's okay, that's not it. I just gave it to you at first, okay? Let's not confuse it. Let's not get confused, all right? All right. Where are we at? Leviticus 14 and 14, okay? And the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. That's the big toe of his right foot, okay? Again, Leviticus 14 and 14. And the priest shall take some of the blood, all right, of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of his right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, the big toe, all right, the big toe, okay? And the priest shall take some of the log of oil, that's the liquids, a log again, measurement of liquids used by the Hebrews, and pour it in the palm of his left hand, all right? Okay. And again, we try not to go outside, but we can go outside and break that down. Hebrews 14 and 14. Let's go to Leviticus. And we want to go to Leviticus 8 and 23. Let's get Leviticus 8 and 23 where you can get a good understanding. 8 and 23, Leviticus. And he shall slew it, and Moses take of the blood of it, and put it upon the tip of Aaron's right ear, and upon the thumb of the right hand, and upon the great toe of the right foot. See? All right? See what it just said? So you can get a better understanding. Again, Leviticus 8 and 23. And he shall slew it, and Moses took of the blood of it, and put it upon the tip of Aaron's right ear, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. Now let's go back to Leviticus 14, okay, and 14. All right, and it says, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of his right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, the big toe, okay? So you can have clarification. And the priest shall take some of the log of oil and pour it in the palm of his own left hand, all right? And a log, again, is measurements of liquid that our ancestors used, okay? Now let's go to Hebrews 14 and 16. And the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in his left hand, and shall sprinkle of the oil which is with his finger 7 times before the Lord. Again, Leviticus 14 and 16. And the priest shall dip his right finger in the oil that is in the left hand, and shall sprinkle of the oil with his finger 7 times before the Lord. Okay? 7 times before the Lord, okay? And that's what he should do, all right? And Hebrews 14 and 16, right? 17, Hebrews 14 and 17. And the rest of the oil that is in his hand shall the priest pour on the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of the right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot upon the blood of the trespass offering, okay? And again, this ties into what I just gave you, okay, in Leviticus 14, all right? It interacts, so that pretty much chapter breaks itself down, okay? Leviticus, okay, this is Leviticus 16. I didn't, if it's lucky if I said Hebrews, but I'm in Leviticus, okay? Leviticus 17, okay, Leviticus 18, and the remnant of the oil, okay, that is in the priest's hand, he shall pour upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, and the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord, okay? All right. And again, I just gave you that. We can go outside again, the precept that Leviticus 14 and 18. Where do I want to go? Leviticus. We'll stay in the book of Leviticus and go to Leviticus 4. Let's go to Leviticus 4 and 26. All right. And it says, and he shall burn all his fat upon the altar as the fat of the sacrifice of peace offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for him as concerning his sin, and it shall be forgiven him. Okay? Pretty much going into Leviticus 14 and 18. All right? All right. Leviticus 14 and 19. Okay. And the priest shall offer the sin offering and make an atonement for him that is to be cleansed from the uncleanliness, and afterward he shall kill the burnt offering. Now we just went over this in Leviticus 14 and 12. Let's go up to 12 so you can get a clear understanding. All right, the scriptures interact, and we can stay right here in Leviticus 14 chapter. It breaks itself down. And the priest shall take one he lamb and offer him for a trespass offering and the log of the wave offering before the Lord, okay? So again, they interact. They break themselves down, okay? Hebrews 14 and 20. And the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean, okay? And he shall be clean, all right? And that goes into Leviticus 14 and 8. We can go right back up to Leviticus 14 and 8. It says, and he that is to be cleansed shall wash his clothes and shave off all his hair and wash himself in the water that he may be clean. And after that he shall come into the camp and shall tarry abroad out of his tent 7 days. He was clean, but he had to stay in the tent 7 days, okay? So again, that was Hebrews 14 and 20, okay? They interact. And the priest shall offer the burnt offering and the meat offering upon the altar, and the priest shall make an atonement for him, and he shall be clean, okay? All right, and that's Leviticus 14, 19, and 20, okay? Leviticus 14 and 21, all right? And if he be poor and cannot get so much, then he shall take one lamb for a trespass offering to be waved to make an atonement for him, and 1/10 deal of fine flour mingled with oil for a meat offering, and the log of oil. And I explained to you what the log was. Those are liquids used by the Hebrews, okay? And this is 14, okay, and 21. And if he be poor and cannot get so much, then he shall take one lamb for a trespass offering to be waved, to make an atonement for him, and 1/10 deal of fine flour mingled with oil for meat offering, and the log of oil, okay? And let's go to Leviticus, all right, 11. Leviticus 11. Leviticus 11, okay? And we want Leviticus 11 and 12, all right? Wow. Leviticus 11 and 12. For whatsoever have no fins, nor scales in the water, shall be an abomination unto you, okay? Leviticus 11 and 12. Shit, that's not it. Leviticus 5. That's not it. That's not what I'm looking for. That's what you can eat. Leviticus 5. Okay, I want to go to Leviticus 5. That's not it. Leviticus 5. 21. Okay, Leviticus 5. And let's start at 7. And if he be not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring for his trespass which he have committed 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons unto the Lord, one for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. Okay? And he shall bring them unto the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off his head, for the head from the neck, but shall not divide it asunder. And he shall sprinkle of the blood of the sin offering upon the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be wrung out at the bottom of the altar. It is a sin offering. And he shall offer the second for a burnt offering according to the matter, and the priest shall make an atonement for him for his sin which he have sinned, and it shall be forgiven him, okay? But if he be not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he that sinned shall bring for his offering the 10th part of an ephah of fine flour for a sin offering. He shall put no oil upon it, neither shall he put any frankincense thereon, for it is a sin offering. And that gives you a much better understanding. That's what I was looking for. Leviticus 5, 7 through 11. Okay, Leviticus 11 I gave you goes into the dietary law. That's why I had to correct that. And that interacts with Leviticus 14 and 21, okay? For those of you out there listening and learning. All right, Leviticus 14 and 22. Okay, and the 2 turtle doves are the 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to get, and the one shall be a sin offering, and the other burnt offering, okay? One shall be a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. And again, we can stay right here, Leviticus 14 and 22, okay, 14 and 22, okay? And we don't have to move. We can go right into Leviticus 14 and, if I'm not mistaken, 12. Let's go back in Leviticus 14 and read that to you, 22. Okay. And the 2 turtle doves are 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to get, and the one shall be for a sin offering, and the other a burnt offering. Okay, and this is Leviticus 14 and 22. All right. Leviticus 14 and 22. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Leviticus 14 and 12, let me see, 14 and 12. Okay. No, Leviticus 14 and 12 doesn't tie into that. We're going to have to go outside and get you a precept to tie into that. Leviticus 14 and 22. Leviticus 12 and 8. Leviticus 12 and 8, okay? Let's get this Leviticus 12 and 8. And it says, and if she be not able to bring a lamb, then she shall bring two turtles, or two young pigeons, the one for the burnt offering, and the other for sin offering, and the priest shall make an atonement for her, and she shall be clean. Okay, perfect. That's perfect. All right, and that ties into Leviticus 14 and 22. Leviticus 14 and 22, Leviticus 12 and 8. All right, Leviticus 12 and 8. Leviticus 14 and 23. And he shall bring them on the 8th day for his cleansing unto the priest, and unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. Now, we can stay in the book this time, I'm pretty sure. Let's go to Leviticus 14 and 10, if I'm not mistaken. Leviticus 14, 10, and 11. Okay, and let's get Leviticus 14 and 20. Okay, Leviticus 14 and 23. Leviticus 14 and 23. And he shall bring them on the 8th day for his cleansing unto the priest, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before the Lord. All right. And Leviticus, 14 and 10 should tie right into that. Leviticus, we don't have to do nothing. Let's go Leviticus 14 chapter, and let's go to 10, and that should be it. And on the 8th day, he shall take 2 he lambs without blemish, and a ewe lamb for the first year without blemish, and 3 timbs deals of fine flour for a meat offering, mingled with the oil, and 1 log of oil. Okay. And the priest that maketh him clean shall present the man that is to be made clean, and those things before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Perfect. And it ties into Leviticus, that 14 and 23. So we stayed in Leviticus 14 and broke that down. Again, sometimes we have to leave Leviticus. Pretty much I try to stay in the law to break the law down. But for the most part, this chapter interacts in itself and it breaks itself down, okay, for those of you listening and learning again. Leviticus 14 and 24, all right? Leviticus 14 and 24. And the priest shall take the lamb of the trespass offering and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. Okay? And you can go right back into Leviticus 14 and 12. Let's go back to Leviticus 14 and 12. And the priest shall take 1 he lamb and offer him for a trespass offering, and the log of oil, and wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. Perfect. It interacts and it breaks itself down, this chapter here. And we'll read to about 30, and we'll close this out, part 2 of a trilogy, 3-part. Leprosy was the mark that he gave him. And as you can see, this leprosy was a thing not to be taken lightly back then and this present day, okay? Because it is a curse from the Most High God, all right? And when you got leprosy, it was very serious. You had to be quarantined, okay? You had to be put away from everybody else because it was contagious, okay? And if we keep reading, going into the conclusion of the lesson, it's going to show how you had to go into the house and make sure the house was sterilized and all of that, okay? And Leviticus 14 and 23, I just gave you that. And what I want to do, let's get Leviticus 14 and 23. It ties into that Leviticus 14 and 10, and it also goes into that Matthew 8 and 1. Let's go into Matthew real quick. Show some of the miracles that Yahweh worked, all right? Let's get this Matthew 8 and 1. All right, Matthew 8 and 1. And it says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest. And Yahweh shall put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will be thou clean. And immediately his leprosy was cleansed." See, these are some of the miracles that Yahweh Savior worked, okay? Again, leprosy was nothing to be taken lightly, okay? And this is Leviticus 14 and 23, ties into Leviticus 14 and 10, and this Matthew 8 and 1. I said we would bring some of these scriptures out. Matthew 8 and 1. "And the Lord spake unto Moses, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest." And the priests, again, are the Levites, okay? He hollowed them off as his priests when he killed the firstborn of Egypt and delivered us, okay? For those of you listening and learning. "And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, This shall be the law of the leper in the day of his cleansing. He shall be brought unto the priest. And Yahweh shall put forth his hand and touched him, saying, I will be thou clean. And immediately the leprosy was cleansed. And Yahweh shall saith unto him, See thou, tell no man, but go thy way, show thyself to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded for a testimony unto them." All right. And Leviticus 14 and 24 again. "And the priest shall take a lamb of the trespass offering and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Lord." All right. And that ties into Leviticus 14 and 12. Okay. Let's go right back into Leviticus. Okay. And, Leviticus 14 and 23. "And he shall bring them on the 8th day." Okay, Leviticus 14 and 23. Okay, I just gave you that. That ties into Leviticus 14 and 10 and Matthew 14 and 18. Leviticus 14 and 24. That's where we're at, okay, Salakia. "And the priest shall take the lamb of the trespass offering and the log of oil, and the priest shall wave them." Okay, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before the Lord. And that goes into Leviticus 14 and 12. Let's go back up to Leviticus 14 and 12. "And the priest shall take one he lamb and offer him for a trespass offering and the log of oil, and wave them for a wave offering before the Lord." So again, the scriptures interact, and the chapter pretty much breaks itself down. Leviticus 14 and 25. We'll stop at 30 and do the conclusion, Lord will, tomorrow or the next day for sure, okay? But this goes to show you how serious that the leprosy was, all right? Leviticus 14 and 25, okay? It says, "And he shall kill the lamb of the trespass offering, and the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering and put it upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the toe of the right foot. And the priest shall pour the oil into the palm of his left hand, of his own left hand. And the priest shall sprinkle with his right finger some of the oil that is in his left hand 7 times before the Lord. And the priest shall put of the oil that is in his hand upon the tip of the right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot, upon the place of the blood of the trespass offering. And the rest of the oil that is in the priest's hand he shall put upon the head of him that is to be cleansed, to make an atonement for him before the Lord. And he shall offer the one of the turtle doves or the young pigeons, such as he can get, okay, whatever he can afford, all right? And again, that's beautiful. That all this ties, you can tie into Leviticus 14 and 14, Leviticus 14 and 22. They all interact, and I'll get both of these and close the lesson. Leviticus 14 and 14, okay, stay there, and let's go to Leviticus 14 and 14. And the priest shall take some of the blood of the trespass offering, and the priest shall put it upon the tip of his right ear of him that is to be cleansed, and upon the thumb of his right hand, and upon the great toe of his right foot. Perfect. Okay, and let's go to 14 and 22. And the 2 turtle doves are 2 young pigeons, such as he is able to get, again, what he is able to afford, like I gave you in 14 and 30 in Leviticus. And the one shall be sin offering, and the other burnt offering, okay? And this is the law of the leper, okay? We just broke down Leviticus 1 through 30, okay? It's a long chapter, and it's 57. We'll break down the rest of this here on the conclusion of the trilogy. Lord will, Leviticus was the mark that he gave him. Part 2 was edifying. It was a little lengthy, but that's what we have to do, okay? The patience of the saints, all right? Lord will, the lesson was edifying. In closing, I'd like to say Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakadas, Barakatah, Shalom, and Kwam Yasharala, Abab Abod.